YEF Wash Project is transforming lives across 41 schools and 10 communities. Trained 2,500 girls and women, the project is debunking myths, promoting hygiene, and ensuring access to safe, gender-friendly toilets. Every Wednesday across schools, we're empowering them to lead, learn, and even create businesses around menstrual health products. Join YEF and Mangroves and Partners on Women Radio 91.7 FM every Thursdays, 4:30 p.m. as we address wash issues today. Also, visit our social media pages to learn more. Together, we're shaping a safer, empowered future for all. YEF Wash Project, changing lives, one community at a time.
All right, a very beautiful evening to you. Thank you so much for staying with us right here on your Women Radio WFM 91.7. Hope your day is going on well, is ending well, and you're already thinking of the weekend. Okay, so yes, well, sincere apologies for starting behind schedule today. Just some things we couldn't control, but hey, we're here, and we're definitely going to go through with the program for today. All right, so once again, you're welcome to the Youth Empowerment Foundation Water Sanitation and Hygiene Project right here on Women Radio WFM 91.7. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser. And of course, this program is implemented by Mangrove Partners and Youth Empowerment Foundation. All right, so today on the program, we'll be looking at EF itself, all right, the Youth Empowerment Foundation, 30 years of intervention. So you've been wondering, what is EF? What is EF all about? When did EF start? And all of those details. So today we said, okay, fine, let's just go through all of that so that you're in a better place to understand how far YEF has come and, some of the activities of YEF and, a lot more other information that you could just be interested in knowing right here on Women Radio. Because when we started, the first episode we had, there was a lot of, explanations on what we're going to do and how we're going to go about it. But today we said, okay, let's just dig deep into it. Okay. So that's what we are going to be doing today. So if you have questions, you have concerns, or maybe you just have suggestions or anything that comes to mind, or even a recommendation, please go ahead and dial the numbers 07000 917 917. You can also go ahead and dial 09155 917 917. Please feel free to send in a WhatsApp message to 070 or better still, you could use 08155 917 917. All right, so yes, of course, joining me this evening on the program is Mrs. Iwalola Akinjimo. All right, she's the co-founder and executive secretary of Youth Empowerment Foundation. Good evening, ma'am. You're welcome to the program. It's good to have you. It's good to do this with you once again. I know the first episode we were here when you were giving us a breakdown of and what we want to achieve, with the program and all of it. So it's good to have you once again.
And that was almost like 11 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's a long time, right?
How time flies. All right. So that's the voice of, the co-founder and executive secretary of Youth Empowerment Foundation, Mrs. Iwalola Akinjimo. All right. So we'll just head on straight to the conversation. Remember, you can be a part of it. And of course, we're live on Facebook at WFM 917, also live on YouTube at WFM 917. So feel free to, follow up with the conversations on the different platforms. All right, so let's head on straight to the genesis of everything. The genesis of everything from the very beginning.
How it all started.
So, what inspired the start of Youth Empowerment Foundation? Let's start with that. Okay. Let's try to manage the time, but let's go with it.
I know. One of the key things as a young person was that I had parents who told me virtually a lot of things about life, relationships, when you can start having sex and what type of relationships you're supposed to keep as a young person.
Yeah.
And then I do a lot of sports with my sister. Her name is Fiwa Shade. And one of the things we discovered very early in life is that a lot of young women, a lot of young girls did not have information on sexual and reproductive health. And so we made up our minds that, when we want to start an organization, that will be the focus of what we're going to be working on. So in 1995, we had a grant from the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, which was a leadership grant. And
Hmm.
so we decided that, okay, let's look at adolescents in Ondo State. And then Ondo State was still Ondo and Ekiti State joined together. So what we did was to conduct a research to identify the reproductive health needs of adolescents. And adolescents, some will be in school, some will be out of school. So we worked in 3 local governments at that time, Akure, Ado Ekiti, and Ilajesu, the local government areas, looking at, okay, so what are the gaps? What information do adolescents have? What don't they have? How can we bridge this gap? And the gap was really huge. And so we ended up training guidance counselors in schools on adolescent reproductive health, how they can provide the information to adolescents in school. And then we looked at people who had vocational training centers at that time, also build their capacity so that they can bridge that gap and ensure that adolescents know about relationship, they know about abstinence, they know about how to relate to each other, they know about menstrual hygiene, and so many other information at that time. So that was how we started. Now we did this for about 3 years, working across the 3 local government areas, and we realized that the impact was huge.
Okay.
We brought together principals, also build their capacities. We brought together parents to tell them how they can give information to adolescents and particularly how they can give age-specific information, because adolescents are not they're not heterogeneous. You have some adolescents who are practicing abstinence. You have some who are already sexually active. You have some who are sexually active and who don't want to continue. You have some who have been physically abused or sexually abused. So it was a whole lot of needs. And so we now build capacities of various stakeholders to be able to meet these needs. Now, having done that for 3 years, we felt we can't just close shop. We've generated a lot of need. We've generated a lot of impact.
Yeah.
And that was how we expanded from Ondo State at that time and Ekiti State and down south, to southwest Nigeria, to Lagos, to Oyo. And now we're programming not only across southwest states, but then at the national level.
Okay, that's definitely interesting. I like how you're pushing it and you're going to different areas of this. All right, so like I said, you can be a part of the program by dialing 07000 917 917. You can also go ahead and dial 09155 917 917. We'll definitely love to hear from you, and we would love to hear your thoughts as regards to some of the programs that we have spoken about here. Period poverty, we've spoken about menstrual health hygiene, we've spoken about domestic violence here, a lot of issues that we have spoken about right here on the program. All right, so let's head back to the conversation now. I feel like you've answered like 3 of my questions at once, but I think that's the way we'll go. Okay, so now tell me about the very first program or project that you had. How was the reception for that? Because I want to believe that happened in Ekiti or your. So how was the reception for that? The very first program you had or project.
So the very first project we had, like I said, was on adolescent reproductive health, and we conducted a research across those 3 local government areas. And so what the research showed was that there was a huge gap, like I mentioned initially, and then we tried to bridge the gap through capacity building sessions. For us, we felt that, then we're working in 4 schools, and when you look at the entire, even just Akure alone, you have hundreds of schools. So one of the things we realized so early is to start. You can build capacities of adolescents to reach other adolescents. So the peer education approach, we call it, I beg your pardon, is something that we quickly imbibed into like a culture of youth empowerment foundation, training adolescents to train other adolescents and to reach out so that we can. So the impact was huge that even the Ondo State government at that time, I remember the commissioner was Dr. Badi Mosi, came for a lot of our outreach programs, came even into schools. He's late now to be part of a lot of the interventions that we had. And I also remember a former Family Health International director, late Dr. Femi Oke, was also the director of primary health care at that time in Ondo State. And so for us, the main reason why Youth Empowerment Foundation came to be, because we started off as a project, was the fact that the impact was huge. And we didn't want a situation that we would just say, okay, we're supposed to implement this project for 3 years, and then we now stop at the end of 3 years. But rather, we now institutionalize the project, which was on adolescent reproductive health, into Youth Empowerment Foundation. So the impact was huge. But one of the key things we've learned over the years is that if you want to make a huge impact, you need to work with government, because the government has the structures, they have the schools, they have the local governments, and even though there's also gap within governments, but then you can build capacities of people who are passionate within the government system, even at the community level, who might not necessarily be part of the government, to be able to have community ownership of the projects you're implementing. So it's not a case of us coming from Youth Empowerment Foundation to build capacities, but it's an inclusive thing, ensuring communities, because we can't work in all communities, communities have the necessary skills to continue the project when we're done, or and even to be part of the project whilst we're implementing the project. So for sustainability purposes, government involvement, community ownership is something, some of the best practices that we embraced very early in the course of Youth Empowerment Foundation.
Okay. All right. Okay, we have a call. Let's pick this call and hear from a caller. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. How are you today?
How you doing?
I cook with you.
I'm fine.
Wait till your name, where they call me from.
What's that, man? My name is Ronke from Magoro.
Ronke from Magboro. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Let's hear you, Ronke. You don't hear the conversation since, Abby.
Yeah.
We'll hear you.
Yes. Well done to our guest. You did do well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I want to ask, yeah, so I want to ask that the effects of what they do, if they go outside Lagos, I've been for only Lagos today, because we see people need to be share things that they do outside Lagos. Different places, people need to hear these things as well in other parts of Nigeria. So how is they do them for other parts of Nigeria? To say maybe saying that only Lagos they do.
Thank you very much.
Thank
That's
you.
a very good question. Actually, one of the reasons why we're on air is so that people in other parts of Nigeria and even outside can hear, what we're teaching. So that's why we're partnering with Women FM. That's on one hand. Then we have offices in Abuja and Ibadan.
Oh, okay.
And so one of the things is that, like I said, we cannot reach everybody. So those our offices also build capacities of students, of adolescents, both in school and out of school, to be able to reach other adolescents. So our program is not restricted to Lagos. As a matter of fact, Lagos is just one of our offices.
I think we're actually saying this because most of the time when we come here, we're talking about schools in Lagos, how much reach you have gone through in Lagos. So maybe that's why.
So one key thing, we're also working in Ogun State. We have schools we're partnering with in Abeokuta. We have schools that we're working with in FCT Abuja. We have schools we're working with in Ibadan. But now at the national level, we also go around. So we're not restricted to Lagos at all. It's just one of the states where we work.
All right. I think we'll have a call. Hello, good evening.
Hello,
hi.
Hello.
Good evening. What name were you calling
Hello.
from? I'm fine.
My name is Yetunde from Lagos.
Yetunde from Lagos. All right, go ahead, Yetunde.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this program. I just have to call in because my son listened to the show within 1 week and he was even asking me questions after the show ended. So it makes me happy.
Okay.
It makes me so happy that now people don't feel weird about menstruation. It's something that is normal. So thank you. You are doing a very good job.
Thank you so much, Yetunde. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for sharing the impact even on your son.
Hey, thank you, Yetunde, for calling. This is definitely good. We love to hear such stories because we want our young boys to be involved. Because if they grow with the right information, I think we're doing something. So thank you very much, Yetunde, for calling. Let's see, we just have a few more minutes to it. So let's see if we can maybe squeeze in one or two more calls. 07000 917 917 or 08155 917 917. So quickly, let's head back to the conversation before we wrap it up. How are supports been so far? Because I know that, earlier you mentioned when you first started, you got grants, so, but since then, comparing it to now, how has that been coming in so that you can keep doing the projects and, all the work that you do?
Okay, so one of the key things we embrace is not just looking for grants, but also, like I said, having the community ownership aspect. So we have individuals who also buy into our projects,
Hmm.
who support our projects, and we also do a lot of fundraising with corporate organizations.
Okay.
Corporate organizations have this corporate social responsibility initiatives
Hmm.
that they have to partner with. So we look at organizations who share the same values with us, and then we partner with them in implementation of not just water sanitation and hygiene projects,
Hmm.
but also reproductive health and even sports for development projects. And well, grants getting grants will always be a challenge. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
scarce
Of
resources,
course.
but then we're quite creative about it. And
Hmm.
one of the key things that we've also benefited from is some level of government support, though more at the federal level than at the state level. In the implementation of even HIV/AIDS projects for
Hmm.
adolescents, both in and out of school, and then for young people. So funding is always a challenge. But one key thing is that when you have a very good track record
Yeah.
and you deliver on what you've been asked to deliver on,
Hmm.
way beyond what you've even been asked to deliver on, you always get some sort of support.
Hmm.
But funding will be a challenge. It's always also good for organizations to have very good, transparent reports. People can go on your website, they can see your reports, they can see
Mm-hmm.
how you're doing, they can see the programs that you're doing. These are some of the things that actually help us, because a lot of our projects are quite visible and people can
Yeah.
see what we're doing and what
Exactly.
impact we're having.
Okay. All right. This is your Women Radio WFM 91.7. And this is the Youth Empowerment Foundation Water Sanitation and Hygiene Project right here on Women Radio. And we have just been going through what EF has been able to achieve in the past 30 years. 30 years is no joke. I mean, they've come a long way. And I'm sure that, we'll say that, yes, they don't catch ground. you don't, you don't set. But at the end of the day, we still have a lot of work to do and a lot of issues to bridge the gap in, and a lot of information that we need to put out there to take out the disinformation, to remove all the myth we have in our society, just to clean up our society, basically, and yes, EF is doing something. So, just to wrap up the whole conversation, where is EF heading to? Where is the Youth Empowerment Foundation heading to? And what are some of the projects that, we'll keep seeing and keep hearing?
Okay, one of the key projects you keep seeing and keep hearing is the fact that we're building capacities of young people to be able to do martial arts.
Martial
Yeah,
arts.
yeah,
Okay.
specifically taekwondo.
Mm,
And we have this annual female taekwondo championship that we take around the country. We've
mm,
had one in Ibadan, we've had one in Lagos. Last year we were in Abuja. This year we're going to Benin. So in terms of sports for development for young people, you're going to
there.
continue to hear about Youth Empowerment Foundation. Now, in terms of where we're going,
Mm,
we want to be the partner of repute,
mm,
the partner that has the greatest impact when it comes to youth empowerment in Nigeria,
yeah.
and not just Nigeria, globally.
Mm,
Because one of the key things we've been able to do is to work effectively with organizations. Like I
mm.
said, we cannot
You
be
can do it,
everywhere.
and yeah.
So identifying partners who share the same values with us
Mm,
and who also have the capacity to deliver impact.
mm,
So being able to have those organizations to work with at the global level, that is where we're going.
yeah.
And we understand the fact that there are so many resources at the community level. So it's
Mm,
not a case of an organization dropping from the sky to address the problem of the community,
mm.
but rather is to work in partnership with the community to be able to solve some of these problems.
Okay.
And that is for us the impact that we want to make.
Okay, great. We're rooting for YEF, and
Thank you,
we're
thank
here,
you.
Women Radio, always willing to partner with anything that will empower youth, empower young girls, empower women, and all of this things that will just make us better citizens and better
Exactly,
Nigerians at the end
exactly.
of the day. All right, so this is where we'll draw the curtains for today. Thank you so much for coming
Thank,
on to talk
thank
about
you, Rose. It's been so
EF,
awesome.
for the past 30 years, and we'll keep rooting for you, like I said. So, a very big thank you to our guest for today, who was taking time out of a busy schedule to come here and talk to us about the Youth Empowerment Foundation. And we've just been speaking with Mrs. Iwalola Akinjimo, the co-founder and executive secretary, EF Wash. Thanks to Yetunde, who called Thanks to
Ronke.
Ronke who called suit. Thank you both. And please, let's continue to spread the word. Let's continue to spread the word. You've heard it from here. Please continue to spread it so that our societies can be better. All right. So that's it coming from me. But next week, Thursday, we'll be here, God's willing, to definitely go on with the program. Okay. So, yes. Thank you for tuning in today. You have been listening to the Youth Empowerment Foundation Water Sanitation and Hygiene Project right here on Women Radio, implemented by Mangrove Partners and the Youth Empowerment Foundation. Until next time, my name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser. Good evening.